Just wanted to take a few minutes to review with you some tips and some ideas for your future soap notes and to kind of give you an idea of some of the feedback that I gave you in this assignment and how you can use it in the future. So, goal writing and goal setting is not something that you guys will do typically in the field. However, it is good for you to understand how they're created and what should be involved in a well written goal. So, as you all know, we do we do goal writing using the COAST method. So, in looking at that, you want to make sure that all of those elements are included in the goal. So first thing I did here, just like in your assignment, was write down a problem statement or a problem area. And the one I chose is difficulty sleeping secondary to lack of a sleep preparation routine. So then my long-term goal, client will perform sleep preparation routine. So that's my C and my O. And then independently, that's my A. 3 out of 4 trials, that's my S or specific condition, by the end of 4 weeks. Then my 2 short-term goals are client will establish a written sleep preparation routine with minimal assistance using her journal by the end of week 1. Now notice here with this one, I didn't have a specific condition like 100% of the time or 3 out of 4 trials or 2 out of 3 days of the week. I had one related to using her journal because this particular goal will likely be a 1 or a 2 time deal where she'll do it within 2 sessions, probably at the most within that first week. Then your other short-term goal has got a more typical specific condition. Client will complete a 10-minute meditation exercise independently 2 out of 3 trials by the end of week 3. So the reason I chose a meditation exercise is because the meditation exercise can be a part of the sleep preparation routine. So her meeting this short-term goal will then lead to her ultimately meeting the long-term goal. All right, so the soap notes are going to be the more important piece of what I really want you to try to understand here. So I'm just going to start at the beginning and I'm going to just go over each section with you. So the problem statement. Even if you're doing goals and you write a problem in your goals, you also need to make sure that you always have a problem statement associated with your soap note, because the problem statement technically is considered part of the soap note itself. So the problem statement that I chose was client experiences difficulty sleeping secondary to the lack of an organized sleep preparation routine. Now, as you can see here, I have, as a result of a recent major depressive episode, in parentheses. And I did that because you can include a statement like that about the diagnosis, but you certainly don't have to. So that is definitely optional. However, you do want to make sure that in your problem statement that the area of occupation or the functional deficit area is what you concentrate on. So you're not going to say something like client experiences depression as the problem statement, because you don't want to concentrate on the depression or the diagnosis or even the major symptoms of the diagnosis. You want to be looking at what's functionally impacted. So then in your S or your subjective section, a lot of you got comments that stated that you should make sure that you have some context that goes with the quotes. What that means is that gives the reader an idea of what caused the client to make that statement. So when asked about her current sleep schedule, client responds, "I usually go to sleep at 10, but I don't know if it's 10 in the morning or 10 at night." When asked, her should not be there. When asked to tell me more about how she feels about her sleep quality, she stated, "I can't fall asleep anyway, and I see a lot of nightmares." So as you can see there, that really gives you an idea of what caused the client to make those comments, which really gives you some context or some clues into how that conversation actually occurred. So then in your O, as you all know, you need to make sure that you include who provided the treatment by giving the credentials. So you don't want to put your name, just your credentials. So for you all, it's OTAS, all in capitals. On 9/22 of 2022, which is the specific actual date, also needs to be included in each one of your O sections. In the conference room of the psychiatric unit, again, you want to make sure that in all of your O sections that you include where the treatment took place and be specific. Say something more than in the inpatient unit or in the clinic. Were you in a treatment room? Were you in the client's room? So make sure you provide that detail. And then to address what? Why did you provide treatment? To address difficulty with sleep. So then in your O, a lot of you received comments about this. You don't want to write anything in your O that you could not observe, that you could not take a video without knowing anything about this person, and you could see in the video what you put in this O section. So client noted to have dark circles under her eyes. Client rocked back and forth and side to side throughout the entire OT treatment session. Client played with her shirt frequently during the session. Client made little to no eye contact during conversation with the OTR. Client demonstrated a closed-off posture, including crossing her arms, covering her face with her shirt, and looking away from the OTR during conversation. Client raised her tone of voice and increased her rate of speech. Client also stuttered at times while speaking. So each one of those things I can observe. It's not a judgment. It's not an assumption. Those are things that I could actually see happening. Then in your A, or your assessment section, the first thing you're going to do in that section is you're going to restate the problem. So client experiences difficulty sleeping secondary to the lack of an organized sleep preparation routine. Then the next part of that section is going to be you providing your therapeutic interpretation of what you heard from the client in the S section and what you saw with the client in the O section. So client's dark circles under her eyes indicate a possible lack of sleep. Client's frequent fidgeting may impact her ability to settle down to go to sleep at an appropriate time. Then client's difficulty determining the time of day may impact her sleep quality. So as you can see in each of those sentences, so the second sentence about the dark circles, the sentence about the frequent fidgeting, both of those things were seen in the O section. Then client's difficulty determining the time of day, that was established from the S section in her statement about going to sleep at 10 but not knowing if it's 10 in the morning or 10 at night. So that's showing you that I'm taking the information from the S and the O and I'm interpreting how it's affecting her functionally in the A. Then you also want to make sure that you provide a recommendation and a potential or prognosis statement in the A as well, usually at the end of it. So you're going to say recommend continued OT services to address whatever the problem is. So in this case, the sleep difficulties. And then you can either use the rehab potential or prognosis. It's up to you how you do that. You may have, when you get out into the field, your OT supervisor may prefer one over the other. I will tell you typically what I have seen in my experiences is using the term rehab potential. So client's rehab potential with continued OT services is good. So then the final section of your note is the plan. So with the plan, you want to make sure that you provide your frequency and duration as well as what you're working on. So continued OT treatment for 3 times a week for 3 weeks to address sleep difficulties. OT will address sleep difficulties by, and remember, this needs to be something that is activity-based, client-centered, and specific to that client. So we're going to address these sleep difficulties by establishing a written sleep preparation routine. Now, if I had just said by creating a routine, that doesn't give me as much detail as saying I'm going to have her create a written one. So that then implies that she's going to be doing something. That is an activity. Then you also want to make sure for you guys as OTAs and right now as OTA students that you also include the statement about the collaboration with the OTR regarding the plan of care. And then, of course, you also want to make sure that you include your signature, which includes your name, your credentials, which for you all right now is OTAS, all in capitals, and the date. So I really hope that this was helpful for you all. I know that SOAP note writing can be super scary because it is something that is so unfamiliar. I also know that it is something that takes time and takes lots of practice. So what I really want you all to do, first of all, is to show yourself some grace and know that this is not a skill that comes naturally. It is not an indicator of how smart you are or not smart you are. It is literally something like any other skill that you have to practice to get good at. So I really want you to take this assignment and know that the feedback given is to help you grow and that I really want to see you all succeed. So if you have any other questions, either about this video or the announcement with the general feedback or your specific feedback, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I am happy to help.